very effective sound, but it didn't actually open my can.
Welcome back, everybody.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Unorthodox Film Podcast, where we make recommendations for movies that we love and hope that we introduce new titles to our listeners. We bring guests on and we kind of just chit-chat about the movies, ranging from various topics. Today's topic is going to be road trip movies. I am Bradford Clark. You have heard earlier my co-host, Joseph. Say hi.
What's up, y'all?
And today we have with us Ian Carroll. Ian, how you doing, buddy?
I'm good. Thanks for having me out, guys.
Yeah, man.
Pleasure to have you, sir.
Thank you.
Road movies is going to be our topic. Last week, we selected hi-fi concept sci-fi blockbusters with Pat Bird, and Mortal Engines from 2018 was our random selection. So we're going to start our conversation with that, and then, like I said, we're going to proceed on to talk about road movies. Now, road trip movies, how do you define it? Like when I think of a road movie, it's a story that is the plot itself is moved forward by the literal movement of the characters to a different location.
Yeah, they have to be in some sort of vessel or vehicle that moves them and the plot along.
Right. And then there's usually like a time limit, someplace they're trying to get by a certain time, they're chasing something, or, you know, there's some sort of
subjective.
Conclusive.
Yeah, they usually have someplace to be and something stops them.
But I'm just saying there's that time time limit there. What happens in between, but there's usually a time limit to meet. Is that so? It's Joe. It sounds like that you're on the same page.
100%.
Yeah, I definitely use like RVs and campers.
Yeah,
a big part of my choice for some of these movies here.
So we're going to be getting into that just a little bit later. But first, let's talk about Mortal Engines. That was a first time watch for myself.
Oh my goodness, such a good movie.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Ian, have you seen it before?
I have not. I've never even heard of it actually before you guys brought it up to me.
Okay, so
excellent.
I remember the marketing for it, and the marketing was pretty much just like the giant cities and things blowing up.
This is why we do this.
And I just never got to watching it. There was no particular reason that I avoided it. It was just I didn't watch it. But Joe has brought it up on a couple of episodes, and so having it selected there was a nice
second time I get to the couple.
I said a couple.
I know.
It wasn't.
Yeah, but you said a couple like you meant a few. Okay.
No, my point being is it was worth being brought up a couple times, so I'm glad I got a chance to see it.
It had to go.
Always thinking I'm being negative towards you.
It had to come up on the
be so goddamn defensive.
It had to come up on the die. I'm just trying to be funny, okay? And funny comes from conflict. You're easy.
So the story, if you didn't watch it, and full spoilers for Mortal Engines, we avoid spoilers on our list, but full spoilers on Mortal Engines. Story that has the world is destitute and everyone's living on giant Mad Max built cities. It's very loosely Steam Deck, and there is the crux is that mad rich guy is trying to get power.
It's definitely steampunk dystopian. It's very, as you say, Mad Max meets like. I think you said it best while we were watching it. If you can try and remember, but it's definitely like Mad Max meets. Oh, what'd you say? It was so good.
It was so perfect.
But regardless, it's the world building is just beautiful in a way that only the British cinematographers really can take so seriously with the practical mixing of that and the CGI, and just it came at a time where there was, you know, the Hunger Games and the Maze Runner and all these.
It's kind of on the tail end of it. It was definitely like there was with Twilight. There were so many of these YA novellas and graphic novels and things. You had what was the other one
that really needed more?
So
I would love to have seen a sequel.
Here's my initial reaction. First off, I did enjoy it. I don't think it was a bad movie, so I want to be clear that it's positive. But I feel like I would have enjoyed it better, or would still enjoy it better, as a full-on RPG video game.
Oh, absolutely.
Because I feel like the plot moved so quickly. Like there were so many different set pieces, but we never stayed in one place very long, and I felt like there was so much there that could have been explored.
The second time I watched it, I literally watched it just to look at the cities.
Yeah, I mean,
you're talking about the city of London as a tank,
right?
like and all these other
built on things on top. There's underneath, and honestly, even sometimes, some of the set pieces,
Big Ben was still there. Parliament was
everything
there.
looked great. We were talking while the movie was going that there was a great blend of practical sets and CGI. You could see the set extensions there, but like overall, it was very well mixed together. However, I think where it kind of fell short for me with that was the fact that we kept seeing this big city. So you saw it in comparison to the smaller scavenger things, like the first ships that she was on there. It's gargantuan in comparison, and you saw multiple different
types.
Using I was gonna say biomes is what you'd call it in like
biomes,
in a video game.
There's
but
all within
that London tank. But at the same time, none of it was connected enough to where I felt I understood the city. Like it was a lot thrown in a lot of times. Like even when he went to the jail, like he flew off, and you didn't know how far he was, where he was in the world. It just looked different. So I think
this is why I said it would serve good as a miniseries.
I definitely see that.
And I can see an RPG game, but I'm not a gamer, so would that
understood? Yeah, I just kept thinking like this would be a great level to play. Like it would be a nice 10 hours just on this one particular piece, and the number of missions that you could get, to stay occupied would be ridiculous.
Yeah,
definitely
just on
reminded
London
me
alone.
of Fallout or like a BioShock kind of game.
Yeah, exactly. And I was saying, because once you started seeing some of the other characters, I was like, this might not even be a game where you have to stay in one character. Like you could hop around in different chapters and play different
the
characters
and the different
and it would just allow you to play. It was just I think that's an IP that could be well explored.
The British Justin Long character. Let's just the guy who played
Tom.
When he was running through the city trying to get to work on time as an introduction to him and kind of the city.
Yeah,
he runs into this like street thug or something, but there's never another real explanation of who that character is.
Right.
If it were a miniseries or a video game, you could definitely like become that character, see
it was a world that looked
why
like
was he apologizing to this man so profusely that he
there's a wealth
didn't
of
even
stories.
run into.
And we like our story where we stuck was very streamlined into basically those two characters and who they ran into, and then whomever Hugo Weaving's character was bumping into. Like everybody else was just extras. Even the gang at the end when they find their rogue group of heroes. I don't know who the fuck any of them are.
Oh yeah, I couldn't tell you a single name of those guys.
We were calling them by their haircuts and their
Thor and we were naming them all sorts of stuff. But yeah, there was just because they were fodder. They were the red shirts, right?
Absolutely,
they're there to die for the cause.
Yeah. What did you think of the movie?
I thought it was fantastic. I thought it was very Star Wars esque. I'm not a huge Star Wars guy.
Okay,
but I think that was a much easier watch. Honestly,
Fair
there
enough.
wasn't any moments where I wasn't entertained in this movie.
It moved a lot.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And there are always new characters being introduced, but it wasn't like overwhelming in that way at all. So
yeah, and I think that the character design physically, like how their makeup was done, or like you knew where that person stood. Like when the old couple saved them from underneath, and like I was tricked all the way up until the tea was served, and then I started being suspect. And then the way that she put them in that bedroom, I'm like, oh, that door's getting fucking locked.
They're being
It looked like a jail cell. Yeah. As soon as he sat down on a grate, I'm like, there's a grate, you can escape.
Yeah.
And then they almost use it.
But I mean, that whole sequence was 5 minutes. So those are two characters that I would love to have known more about. Just a few minutes. I'm a little bit echoey. Could you turn me down just a little bit, Joe? Those two characters, I believe, would have had a lot of fun. Like there's something interesting there. And the way that even those actors played them really gave us a lot with a little, and then they were gone. So those would have been recurring characters that I would have loved to seen more.
Yeah, actually, one thing I noticed was like this movie's the definition of get in late and leave early. Yeah. That's like we're just like constantly going to new places, new ships, new whatever.
Yeah, which is why I believe it really deserved multiple movies, or like the famous British miniseries or limited series as they call them now on Netflix. But like it really should have had more story behind it.
Yeah.
But I'm sure they tried to do a miniseries and probably got cut You know what I mean? Or
Yeah,
something
and
like that.
if I remember correctly, it didn't do well in theaters as far as matching the 100+ million that it had in a budget.
No, and
So
what year did this come out?
2018.
Yeah, so it was really at the cusp of streaming before, so they were banking on theatrical.
I definitely
which
saw
people don't really do as much anymore.
content in there, and I'm not being familiar with the source material. I don't know what other lore is built in there, but just in what I saw, there was plenty of lore there where there could have been a number of. In fact, the characters that we did know, I'd like to know more about the guy that helped the blonde girl. You know,
the guy
you called him the douche, and then I'm like, I didn't really see him do anything douchey. I thought he was going to be the Brad showing up with
because he's a snitch bureaucrat.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, there's that, but
he had that look to him.
Anybody who follows the bureaucracy is a douche in my book, dude. Come on, give it the time.
Like he was ready to go tell on them that they had the old equipment.
He turned in his equipment, dude. For his gain.
Yeah, he didn't get any money or recognition or anything.
No,
for
he
doing
didn't.
That.
You're
right. He was trying to leverage,
secure anything.
You're right. He was attempting to leverage a job like in a university.
Any actual fucking ambition.
I would like a degree with no education and a spot in the university.
And the guy didn't even know who he was.
And he didn't even get the honorary doctorate. He gave the shit away without the contract.
Yeah.
I liked the designs in the movie. These types of movies are always fun because you could tell that the designers are each taking on something different. And one of the things I noticed in this
grandiose machines.
I have a feeling we're going to make a lot of Star Wars references because I do believe there was some strong Star Wars correlation. But
definitely.
The one thing that I liked about Star Wars that I like in a lot of things that like Futurama does this, but this specifically is there's not one type of spaceship.
Oh, I was going to say that.
Somehow everyone has a different model of spaceship and they're all aerodynamically different. Like we don't have that nowadays. You've got 5 different plane manufacturers all making planes that are pretty much identical with small differences, in design. But these, I know that's just like a Ford and a Chevy. They're fucking cars. There are some differences about it, but that's minutia. I'm talking about you've got flat things with 2 wings, and then you've got things with balloon wings. Like there's dramatically differences in design, not stupid little minutia that you're referencing. Yes, there are differences in modern day designs.
No, I wasn't referencing I was referencing the stuff that the government has that you don't release.
And even just like the only thing that was uniform was the London spaceships, and that was the only thing that was ever uniform. Everybody else was like an independent contractor in this world of mayhem.
Another thing I would have liked to know more about. We had a couple of meetings with where it seems like the little small ships come together.
Flyers,
They lock together. They do their trading.
They had this like city in the sky that was basically a giant hot air balloon.
Yeah, that went down like the Hindenburg.
Terrible design.
So hard.
Terrible design.
He slammed a couple bodies through that one little office off to the side, and all of a sudden the whole thing was on fire.
Even the jail thing that was in the water, all he had to do was shoot one leg.
What a
there it goes
design.
into the ocean.
Hydrogen slimable.
But I do think that that's what there was a look that was established by the production designers that it wasn't a found look. Like when you're looking at the individual flyers, that I was mentioning, it didn't look like they were piecemeal things. It looked like they were designed and created with a plan.
Yeah.
But nothing, even the cities looked the same, and so it wasn't like a found look. It was a new look, but at the same time, it's
all
still
very described in the books. I'm sure. I mean, I haven't read them.
I feel like it adds to the chaos of everything. Everything's all stacked up on top of each other.
Yeah.
London's like this big machine. Everyone else like this little ant running around trying to get away from it. And
scurry, that was hilarious.
The shots of London, when you get like the wides and like the back end view and like the wraparounds, when you really collect it, it's like it's a sculpture of obviously this tank with the old city parts built on top of it, and then you've got like parts that are like sweeping skyscraper looking glass that like aren't even
and a blend of old and new. There was like what looked like modern Miami condos,
yes, exactly,
off to the side of the cliffs. But Then there are,
Like
you know,
every
old
level had
architecture.
like its own river walk and
The church looked like it was lifted literally from where it was originally
level
built
of society
and put onto the giant tank thing. It was a nice blend.
And then you got to see the underbelly. Like, remember when they opened the secret door and all the cobwebs and there was all these secret stairwells.
Thousand steps.
The cat's cradle.
No elevator. They got all that technology.
So there was something that Ian pointed out while we were watching, and I definitely think we have to have this conversation. What is it with being stabbed in the stomach?
I don't know what it is with being stabbed in the stomach. If it's just more dramatic to get stabbed in the stomach, there's like 3 different times where somebody gets stabbed in the stomach.
Yeah.
Like if you want to take someone out, you got to go for something more vital.
You never know what. There's a lot of vital organs in there. You never know what got hit.
Sure.
And if it's the liver, you're screwed.
And some there was at least
really
one
the
time
color of the blood.
At least one time, you know, it was a closed penetration, so I can see like without like that. That's a first blow, not a
final,
not a solo only like. But it was definitive every time. Everyone who got stabbed in the stomach was done in less than 5.
In the beginning, too, she was close enough to stab him. She could have went for something more vital than the stomach.
Absolutely.
Like, it was a free hit.
Go for the eye, the neck.
The neck for sure.
And, I mean, am I wrong? But, like, if you're going to get that one hit, that one dramatic hit, aren't we also supposed to get the bleeding out the mouth? I didn't see anyone bleed out the mouth. We're supposed to get that final note. You know when someone's bleeding out the mouth.
I think the only time we saw that was when one of the like henchmen or whatever got shot. Was the only time that I ever saw blood come out of the mouth. Yeah.
And there was, for a lot of violence, it was limited in blood. And I know it was PG-13, so we get what we got.
And the Brits are really tight on the gore when it comes to the ratings.
Definitely American.
I mean, I think it was aimed for a younger audience, so I understand it. That's just me well-wishing. Like, you stabbed enough people in the stomach. Let's get some blood on the teeth. I expect that when I see.
If they hit the liver, you're definitely getting it on the teeth. Kidneys as well.
I think, though, too, it's almost like that moment when you stab someone in the stomach and there's just more dialogue. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like you have that close moment together to get that dialogue off before they die.
And a lot of the dialogue in this movie was expository. So I do think that, like, more time making a miniseries, the conversations could have been a bit more character building and a little less world building.
Yeah, because they had to use the...
Yeah, but everything was truncated so tightly that the dialogue needed to have exposition to it. It just had to. But that didn't change the fact that I had to sit and listen to expository dialogue.
Like quite literally as soon as I hit play, like in the opening credits.
It wasn't even the opening. Like the company logo wasn't even off yet.
And there was already some British guy boring you. I know, yeah.
Some monologue that I don't even remember.
Yeah, a real deep voice that never came back. Like, I don't know who he was, what he represented. But it was very...
They could have at least made a Hugo Weaving or something like that.
Right?
Some cheap impersonation that was not very good. Definitely cheaper though.
So other than Hugo Weaving, I think he's really the only recognizable actor in that film. I don't recognize anybody else from that. And I thought that I thought the cast was good.
Yeah, it was definitely all like British troupe actors. You know what I mean? Like they all work over there, probably in the theaters. And
sure. Nobody stood out as poor, in my opinion. I thought everyone was key. I'm pulling up to see what else. So Hera Hilmar played Hester. And let's see what else she's done. Oh, she must have been...
That scar makeup was flawless. Like,
it was so consistent the whole time.
Yeah, it looked
very seamless.
Yeah.
Is from... I don't think she's from London. She does a lot of foreign stuff. Born 88.
But I wonder if they almost had to compromise who they used in that movie because of all the CGI and costumes and props.
Because of the budget?
Mm-hmm.
That's possible. I think another thing is if you look at a lot of the IPs that are successful in franchises, some of the more successful franchises are ones that start with unknowns and then you get to grow into them. Mm-hmm. I think right now, like Wheel of Time is struggling hard on Amazon, and it's got 3 or 4 actors that you knew beforehand. Yeah. And, not that they're poor actors, and not that it's a great story. I did try and watch an episode or two, and
they
it's not
have
for
a
me.
Fan base and they expect something from that actor. That maybe that role doesn't
Well, and
doesn't
when you
appease the
bring
fan
on
base.
somebody who has notoriety, you're always fighting against the I always saw him as blind.
Yeah. Look at all those Disney kid actors that tried to become serious
That's a
actors.
great
and
example.
They have, their audience is like, you can't do that. You were wholesome. Like, bitch, I'm an artist.
In fact, a perfect example of that is Kurt Russell. Kurt Russell, grew up in the Disney world.
Well, he's an example where he was able to transcend,
but
as did Zac Efron and others.
We know him as an adult. Like he was a kid as a Disney actor. He did go through that same thing that you're describing.
He struggled. Yeah,
it happened right like when he did Big Trouble in Little China. He was still a risk, and he'd come off of Thing, but Thing was a failure. That was a risk. And prior to that, I'm trying to remember what it was, but prior to that, it was. And a lot of it was with Carpenter. I mean, but he was coming off of.
You say is that society don't know shit about art for at least 20 to 30 years because all those are bangers.
Do you think though that using actors that we don't recognize helps with the immersion of the film too? Because you're not thinking about what else they've been in.
Yeah, that's really the point.
That's what it is.
Trying to make. Yeah, I sidelined them like I always do.
I'll take your punchline, Brad.
Thanks, buddy. Yeah, I mean, because if you get distracted thinking about this person as something that they've previously done, especially if it is. I was listening to a podcast the other day where they were talking about American Beauty and the casting of Kevin Spacey.
Oh my God.
And one of the guys was like, oh, well, it was hard for me to see that because I never saw Spacey as a creep. And then the other guy was like, well, hold on. And he listed all of his, like the 5 previous things that he'd done.
Hello, 7?
7. I mean, Unusual Suspects. Like there was just a number of things where he was creepy. Even a couple that I didn't know.
Kaiser Soze, bitch. Come on.
But it's the same thing. The guy who played Norman Bates in
Psycho,
the original Psycho, had that problem where because he was a normal looking guy, and that's what made Psycho so creepy because he was just a normal looking weirdo.
But after that,
he couldn't get roles. They always saw him as Norman Bates, and so he just couldn't get roles. And so it's a phenomenon in Hollywood,
or something like that.
Yeah, casting gets like
he
that.
Was famous before he did the remake. So
I've not even bothered to see that.
Oh my God, dude!
I just don't know why. What it's a shot because it's
a shot for shot remake, dude.
It is.
So the artist's interpretation in
I'm fine with it. I'm not hating about that.
Fascinating. It's a character. It's fascinating.
Didn't love study. Psycho.
Okay, that's fine. You have pretty bad taste in movies.
No. I didn't say I hated it. I didn't say it was a bad movie.
Yeah.
I didn't care for it.
The amount of things that are like
it's a movie
like proven stellar hits that he says he just doesn't have a taste for.
So like the first time I saw Psycho was on cable.
And did you already know what was going to happen?
I was young.
I knew what was going to happen, so I've avoided it for years and years, and that's just something that I can't forget. And that's the whole crux of the movie. So there was no point where I could suspend because I already know like what was a gag or a jump scare then. I already know what's going on. So it was just harder for me
for yourself.
Because I listen to so much of the content and read best of lists or whatever else. Like it's just it's one of those things.
E.T., Jaws, Goonies.
I saw E.T. E.T. I put up there with Pinocchio. I'll sleep through it.
But I will say,
I'm getting,
the Goonies and movies like that were such like in the minivan on the minivan TV movies for me.
Okay,
so it's like me and my cousins watching them, so it's got like that nostalgia to it that you just can't kill.
Yeah, you had some good parents because you're how old are you?
22.
Yeah, so you're young, yeah. So you definitely like it had to be your like because I'm about to be 43. Brad's 43. Not that matters,
44.
But. You're about to be 45.
But even movies like Sandlot and Stand By Me.
I didn't realize you had 2 years on me.
Yeah. Those were big movies for us.
Oh, no, wait, I'm doing the math wrong. You're right. I'm doing the math wrong.
There you go.
Killing me small.
You're right.
I know I'm right.
I love Sandlot. Sandlot is definitely one of those.
Good,
but I have run it. So here's the thing.
But for me, I was exposed to that through my younger sister.
And I knew it. And I knew it at the time. I have known people who are our age who have seen Sandlot, but they never saw it as a kid, and they're like, I just don't understand why you got. And I have to understand it because there is a nostalgic to my enjoyment to it. I still think it's a good movie, but I can't deny the fact that there's
so many
something there
movies
that relates back to my enjoyment of it as a child.
That's
like
really what I'm pointing out. Not the
perfect movie of like being a kid, though. It's just you and your friends messing around.
Right.
You guys. I mean, it's before my time for sure. It's just like, but no home phone calls. Just show up at the Sandlot and
but it was a period piece even when we saw it. And I think that's what makes it have longevity to it. Because it's not like you're watching a movie about the 80s because we saw it in the 90s. That shit's from, about the 50s. We saw it in the 90s. So there's still already that built-in periodness to it.
Absolutely.
Exactly. It had this beautiful built-in aspect where it was nostalgic even for our parents and our grandparents.
Right.
When it came out.
Which I think is the magic of the movie because the Sandlot is timeless. The Sandlot itself is timeless. Right. You can recall whether you play baseball or not, being at the park.
I mean, I remember watching that movie with my grandma and my parents and all of them laughing at the same joke.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like,
absolutely.
For different reasons, I'm sure, because I know I laugh at the same jokes for different reasons now when I'm older. But it transcended generations. It was just a truly good movie.
And it's so simple, too. They don't overdo anything with that movie.
No.
How did we get to the same?
I was going to say,
I was letting it go on. I was letting it go on, but I don't hate
it. I love it.
I do have a transition script already. Yeah. So, that's hilarious. So we're talking about road movies tonight, and I think a good example of a road movie without killing our list would be to say Mortal Engines. I definitely think the story was...
Yeah, so I made this joke while we were watching. I was like,
and I got to make sure it's not on the list.
I was like, can I recommend this again? Because I think it qualifies as a road movie if the whole city's a car.
Yeah, they did in fact travel.
And so here's why I think
it's a good transition.
So here's why I think it's a good example to use for this, because if the movie took place solely on London, even though London was moving, it wouldn't have been a road movie for me. Our main characters were constantly moving for, like I was saying, like every scene was in a new location, literal new location.
Like, I loved how some of the little tanks would like meet up for like farmers markets.
Right. So a road movie needs to have like those characters that really only show up in one scene. They were selling
slaves, and I called it a farmer's market.
It was to make sausage too.
Yeah, selling people to buy sausage and make sausage.
Surely you'd look better as a
So I'm laying the outline here for our discussion.
It's like the only real quote of that movie I remember is the salami one.
So good.
Threw me
You're
off.
Setting up the.
I am. I'm trying to establish here. Characters are like single serve characters in a road movie. You know, they show up and you're stopping at a store, your flat tire, something along those lines where you meet a character and they either come back or they don't. But it's common for characters to only have one or two scenes.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, there's some sort of forward projection. I don't think
if it's a couple going on the road, they got to stop by and do something with one of their best friends.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right.
Or like
and
a family member.
I wouldn't say you have to be in a vehicle necessarily. I just think there has to be actual progression, like not walking across the town, but from one town to another would qualify. You know, I don't know if anyone plans on playing it, but like the famous movie about walking would certainly, like, I wouldn't call it a road movie, but I don't think it's disqualified.
Famous movie about walking.
You know what I'm saying? I don't want to name a title in case anyone was thinking about it, because I think it qualifies, and it qualifies as in other things.
I do have a walking movie in my list.
So. I just wanted to make that
there's nothing wrong with walking, but I don't know like what.
That's why it's like my number 9 and 10 on the list, because I might not bring it up.
Referring to.
Let's get to our list. We are going to be picking 12 movies. Ian, you want to start us out tonight?
Sweet, let's do it.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Get my notes app up here.
Get it going, baby.
Okay, so my first one, I went with a very obvious choice here. I went with We're the Millers.
Okay.
Nice.
Which is a comedy featuring Ed Helms, Jennifer Aniston, Will Porter, and Emma Roberts, which is...
Jason Sudeikis.
Oh, dude, there's so... Oh, yeah, I do have him.
So
and
many.
Nick Offerman, even. Yeah. So many people in this cast.
So good.
But basically, the premise of the movie is that Brad, played by Ed Helms, is your local weed dealer. He gets robbed and loses his stash and cash. And that puts him in debt to his drug suppliers. So he has to go on a road trip with his fake family that he makes up.
Well,
he hires them too. Right?
So Jason Sudeikis,
most of them.
Jason Sudeikis. You guys are getting paid.
Jason Sudeikis plays the guy who gets robbed, and Ed Helms plays Brad Girdlinger, who's the head like honcho and makes Jason Sudeikis go to Mexico to pay back for getting robbed for like $50,000.
It's a really funny movie.
So good. Yeah.
I think it's like I've only seen it once, maybe twice.
Oh,
and not because
you're missing out.
Not because it's bad. No, not because it's bad. I enjoy it.
It's so fun.
But it's one of those movies that I do think, is incredibly rewatchable.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, there's no denying that it's a movie that you can watch over. Like, I would have no regrets watching it a second time.
No regrets.
And
not
also,
one letter.
just like
not one letter.
The human, or not the human. Sorry, the
First
humor.
of all, you get to see Jason Sudeikis get punched in the face. Hilarious. And you get Jennifer Aniston in a striptease, and I think it's the same scene. So like,
it was a good scene too.
Yeah, but I think the humor is just so simple in that movie that it's just that's why it's so easy to rewatch.
I agree. It never tries to stretch too far. It's very subtle and sarcastic, which is right up my alley.
Oh, absolutely, me too.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's especially when Nick Offerman and what's her one of your favorite, what's her name? Catherine.
Catherine Haig?
Yeah.
I love Catherine Haig.
Oh my goodness, the two of them together.
She's one of my favorite female comedians that just always gets bit roles. And
I'm never watching these hands again. And Nick Offerman's
I love that she got to
fucking
play
Jason
Agatha,
Sudeikis' ear,
but it wasn't a comedy. In fact, she was in another movie TV show on Hulu where she plays like a 40-year-old depressed mother, and it's a great fucking show. Yeah. But she is not funny in it at all. I'm like, wow,
she doesn't need to be funny all the time.
It's highly recommended. I don't know what it's called.
You still see the humor.
Yes, but she's so funny.
Is she the brother's wife in Step Brothers?
Yes. Okay. I'm gonna grab you and rub you and roll you all up and stuff inside of my vagina.
Roll you up into a little ball and keep you in my vagina.
And anytime I feel just a little tickle, I know it's just you in my vagina.
That movie's so good.
God, you're an incredible woman. And she pisses in the urinal stand.
Oh, yeah.
All right, Joe. On to you.
On to me. Are you sure we talked enough about We're the Millers?
If you got more to say?
I love
I don't want the dialogue.
Okay, right. That's what you're going to get. I'm just going to quote. It's so quotable. It's so good. Just, yeah, we'll go watch it. See, I don't know where to start. There's so many. Yeah, I already know. I'm going to start with Over the Top.
Gonna go right there in the first. I like it.
I love right to it, man.
I respect it.
I'm going right to it. So Sylvester Stallone and what was that kid's name? It was 1987. The kid, David Mendenhall. Yeah, there you go. Played Michael Hawk. Lincoln Hawk.
Michael Hawk.
So it's directed by Menem Golan. Yeah.
So what is it, Joe?
A tale in which a truck driver with a lucrative sideline in arm wrestling takes his estranged 12-year-old son on the road after the boy's mother falls seriously ill. The trucker is beginning to reach out to the boy as the pair head for Vegas and the Arm Wrestling World Championships. But the lad's wealthy, unfeeling grandfather sends his thugs to put a stop to the bonding and bring the boy back. And, he doesn't want to go back to the riches. He wants to sleep in the back of his dad's semi because he's a
This is the arm wrestling movie, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I was going to say, when are you going to get to the arm wrestling?
I said Arm Wrestling World Championships twice.
That's actually the only thing I picked up from the synopsis was that it was about arm wrestling.
I was waiting for it while typing, and I was like, did I miss the arm
while
wrestling?
typing, not listening.
One-track mind over here.
Yeah. I heard about the gangsters. I didn't know anything about the gangster plotline for that movie.
Well, yeah, because
I thought it was just like a Karate Kid with arm wrestling.
Well, the buff trucker arm wrestler, he bed down the rich lady and left a baby. And when he came back to say, hey, well, let me take care of my son, Grandpa said, I'm going to put him in Harvard. Dude, it's great. It's 1987. It's cheesy. It's over the top.
Over the top. Perfect name for it, honestly.
It's fucking great. It so is, dude. Like montages of them doing he's got weights on the side of his truck on the side of the highway. It's so funny. Brand almost spit
it's like Roadhouse for arm wrestling.
Fucking great.
Yeah, that actually sounds like a Sylvester Stallone movie I'd love to watch.
It's good, dude. It is. If you're looking for 1987,
dude,
let's not forget what year it was made. Okay, because there's definitely some toxic masculinity.
Can I tell you that that's been my mood lately? I've been trying to watch these types of movies, and I can't go to any of the apps and just type in 80s toxic action movie, right? And the ones that pop up in suggestions, because you guys know how it is.
You type in over the top, and if they don't have it, anything they recommend.
You would think so, dude. Recommendations anymore suck.
Recommendations.
You liked,
it's like a Google search, right?
Yeah.
The first 5 are going to be paid for ads.
It's like if you liked Over the Top, you might like this new movie, Electric State, that we're showing, and it's like, okay,
that's not
the same.
No.
But that's how the algorithms have been doing me.
Although I could do Electric Shade against Mortal Engines.
But they're newer sci-fi movies. Like, I would see that as if you like this, then like that. That makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, there's no science in Over the Top at all. Plenty of fiction, but no science. I don't have nothing else to say about it. You can go to yours because it's worth watching, but it's Sly Stallone in 1987. You know,
and it's one that I honestly have heard very little about until recently. So I didn't avoid this one at all. I just didn't fucking know about it. Probably from like the memes that started popping up, and it's just as far as I know, I was not aware of an arm wrestling movie from this.
I got right here. It's
like maybe 10 years ago.
The budget was $2.5 million. It says it made $25 million. So this is
very successful.
It did well.
That was the model for those movies.
But it was also like at the top of his career. You know what I mean? This was after Rambo, after you know what I mean, like after Rocky, all that shit. So yeah.
All right. So my first recommendation is going to be a movie that I hope more people start talking about. And that's from 1993, California with a K, directed by Dominic Sena, starring Brad Pitt, David Duchovny, Juliette Lewis. And it's about a couple. David Duchovny and his girlfriend are a journalist and a photographer, and they are in the midst.
What was the title again? Sorry.
California with a K.
With a K. Oh, I love it.
They are a couple who are on a mission to stop at all the different murder houses, like famous murder houses, and making a coffee table book.
Liz told me about
a coffee table book is a book that you just put on your coffee table that is acceptable to just pick up and flip through. Like it's whatever page you land on.
I had one for years called The American History of Beer.
Something that, I mean, I imagine is still a thing, but less likely to be a thing in the modern day where we're all just sitting down and pulling our phone out.
Absolutely.
But along the way, they catch a couple of hitchhikers, and that's Brad Pitt and Juliette Lewis. And the IMDb says this. I don't know how much I want to say because I don't want IMDb to ruin it. Yeah, but let's just say they're a suspect couple. And what happens is they befriend them, they hitchhike with them, and then, it just gets... It was a movie that I ran into after seeing Seven and not being able to find any other movie that had, like, sure, you could watch another cop movie, but there's no other. Along Came the Spider is not Seven. You know what I mean? It's just
isn't
not
Seven either, but it has that visual
but it has
fabric.
That grittiness to it where it was.
Who directed this? Because they were
Dominic Sena.
They were going for Fincher. Sure.
Dominic Sena, who I think went on to do. They were going
for that Seven Fincher.
He did some big movies that like floppy out. Yeah, I was gonna say Swordfish. Gone in 60 Seconds, Swordfish. Sepia. Yeah. Yeah, it had that. It's got that desaturated look to it, and it's very filthy. The characters, the makeup design is very filthy, but it's
a gritty.
It's a great thriller, and one that I've not heard in casual conversation in a very long time.
And I'm telling you, this is one that went under my radar for a long time. My wife told me about it like years after it came out, and she was shocked I hadn't seen it. And I'm telling you, like I watched it like 3 times that month.
Were they like a natural born killers type couple?
No spoilers.
I would say that the movie
not that extreme
plot line.
Oh, not that extreme.
Yeah,
well, that is a pretty extreme movie.
Yeah, but. If we're talking about back-to-back movies, you could back-to-back California and Natural Born Killers for sure.
100%. For sure. Same tone.
Okay, very cool.
Just like Seven could go in there. You know what I mean?
Very cool.
Seven's a little doesn't have like the couple aspect. You know what I mean? Like
wow.
Yeah, anyway, I mean they ride around in a convertible for a while, and I mean it's just the mystery starts. The mystery just starts to unfold.
What's in the box?
I was gonna say we all know, we all know that scene.
All right, so that's our first recommendations for the episode. So we're going to take our quick break and empty our bladders and make some jokes and hopefully come back and finish this amazing list out. So we will see you guys in just a moment.
Hell yeah. Oh, welcome back, Cotter.
Icy and spicy. Mr. Carter! Mr. Carter! All right.
So 1990s Nick at Night. That's from the 70s.
It is from the sides. Pre-disco Johnny Travolta, too.
Yeah.
All right. Ian, we left off with you. So we've got our first three going. Let's see what you got next.
All right. For my second one here, I have Strange Wilderness from 2008.
Okay, Strange Wilderness.
It's an adventure comedy with Jonah Hill, Justin Long, Alan Covert, and Ashley Scott.
Yeah, man. One of the Happy Madison productions.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, dude.
And
Steve
Zahn.
Okay, it is the one with Steve Zahn. I was going to say, God, I fucking love Steve Zahn.
So funny.
Steve Zahn is one of my
He's like
favorite.
a cameraman or something, isn't he?
He's like the
host.
face of the show. Yeah.
The guy who plays Dante in Grandma's Boy, he's the cameraman.
Oh
he has
my
a mohawk
God.
in this.
That's Dante. That's his name.
He's Dante in every movie. That's right.
Oh, wait. No, Alan Covert. That's the guy from Grandma's Boy. I see what you're saying.
No, the one with the mohawk is the one who plays Dante.
So they're both in it. Yeah, Peter Dante.
Yeah.
No shit.
Yeah.
So remind me, because I do remember watching this.
This one was not well received, but
but it was
love
funny.
it.
I remember laughing a lot.
The humor is definitely really dumb, but it's so good. So
Steve
simple.
Zahn has his own special comedic timing.
Yes.
And just the way he uses it, like, it doesn't matter what role you put him in, you will find funny where it wasn't written.
So it's really surprising that the last time I saw Steve Zahn was in White Lotus. I don't know if you guys have watched that yet, but it was not a comedic role. He played a very serious, depressed person.
Well, yeah, he's very versatile for sure.
And it was impressive.
I love his
but
comedy.
I kept waiting for classic Steve Zahn.
Anybody with that kind of comedic timing is going to kill drama.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
So I have a quick synopsis, too, for you guys to bring
go
you
for
back
it.
on it. Peter's father, Peter is Steven Zahn, is a well-respected wildlife TV host. After the passing of his father, the show is about to be cut from the network, but Peter comes up with an idea to save the show. He gathers up his stoner and idiot friends to capture the only creature that could save the show, Bigfoot.
Yes.
That's right.
So good.
And it really is a stoner comedy, especially with Justin Long and Jonah Hill playing these just absolute idiot characters.
Straight out burnouts.
There's this one scene where they're sitting there with the grandfather. They're all at the dinner table. And
Justin Long's
got eyeballs tattooed on his eyelids.
So you don't know when he's asleep, right? But they're horrible tattoos. There's not even white in the eyes. It's just like
So it's
eyeliner and a slit. It looks like cat eyes, honestly.
And he is sleeping when they find him because Peter Zahn, or what's his name again?
Steve Zahn.
Steve Zahn. His name's Peter in the movie.
Yep.
He's like trying to get his attention. He is sleeping with them with the fake eyeballs.
Justin Long is another one of those. His comedic timing has no second. Like Paul Rudd as well. Like just these actors that can play these amazing serious roles, but when you give them the funny, like they will bring you.
I would compare both of them. And when I say compare, I'm not saying they're the same. I'm saying that they're unmatched in a similar way.
Yes, I agree.
I would put them up there with Christopher Walken. It's about their timing, their punctuation, their inflection, and their choices.
I mean, they have Justin Long and Zach and Miri make a porno.
Oh yeah,
best 2-minute cameo.
They know when to take the right risks. They know just how to be different. Steve Zahn was like, although the trailer's playing in the eyeballs, I just saw the eyeballs. But Steve Zahn, like when he popped up in like the late 90s, early, like, so what, That Thing You Do, he was in that.
Yeah.
There's just
Sahara.
Something about him that he brings to every role that it makes me think, I don't know who I would have put in that role other than him.
He's irreplaceable.
He's almost like Owen Wilson's funny brother. like he reminds me of Owen Wilson, just kind of the way that he looks.
See, I would say
he would be the handsome Wilson.
Oh, there you go.
No, Luke Wilson is the handsome, funny Wilson. Sorry, Owen.
So no, this is hilarious.
Wow.
That is perfect.
I don't know what my mom was watching, but my mom was watching something the other day that had Luke Wilson, and she was like, "I don't know what it is about these brothers. Like, why are they famous? They're so ugly." And that was with
Owen's
Luke.
nose for
that
sure.
was with Luke. Owen wasn't even on screen. I was like, "Well, that's a take."
Well, I mean, it goes back to what I was telling you guys earlier. I had the conversation with my wife about Chris Pine, who's like so odd looking that he's actually handsome.
So I think if you put different eyes on Chris Pine, people might see him differently. I think his eyes and his dark eyelashes really elevate whatever his actual look is.
It's the fact that,
and I'm not. He's a chiseled face. I'm not saying he's not at all.
No, this is
handsome.
It's literally something my wife said. She goes, first of all, he's too chiseled to have soft features.
Yeah.
His eyes are a little too close together, and they're too blue for him to, because he has dark features.
So blue,
and then he has obviously the little bit of a hair lip, which doesn't really do much to it, but it throws a little bit of the symmetry off. But he's also so symmetrical that it's off-putting.
Yeah,
like it's like I put him and Matt Damon in the same kind of like they hit the same amount of ugly branches falling out of a handsome tree. They are handsome, but they're almost ugly handsome, just like the Owen brothers.
I don't know when I think of Matt Damon. On one day, it might be thinking of thin Matt Damon, and other times it's like pudgy Matt Damon. He's never consistent in his Matt Damon-ness. Like, I don't know.
He's a very fluid actor, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, there's not one, not like Jude Law. Jude Law is always chiseled.
He's always Jude Law, yeah.
Right.
Except for, for Hardcore Henry, he got
I've yet to see that. I think the only time that was on, I popped by your place and it was the end, and I was like, well, I guess I got to watch the rest of this.
That was a bootleg DVD I bought for $2 at the bar.
I do. I wanted to see that movie so bad. I don't know why I have yet to.
Off our landlord Dan. There goes that coaster again.
Keep sticking to your drink.
All right, Joe. After you retrieve your coaster, why don't you give us your next title this evening?
Well, I wasn't planning on retrieving the coaster, but yeah, okay, there it is. My next one, oh man, this is such a good list here. I don't know. I'm going to just, before anybody gets to it, 1998's Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
Dang it!
Oh, it was. Actually didn't make my list, but it was on my research.
I'm glad it qualifies.
Tobey Maguire, Christina Ricci. I mean.
Oh, absolutely qualifies.
Oh, it's Raul Duke, played by Johnny Depp, and his attorney, Dr. Gonzo, Benicio del Toro, drive a red convertible across the Mojave Desert to Las Vegas with a suitcase full of drugs to cover a motorcycle race as their consumption of drugs increases at an alarming rate. The Stone duo trash their hotel room and fear legal repercussions. Duke then begins to drive back to L.A., but after an odd run-in with a cop, played by Gary Busey, he returns to Sin City and continues his wild drug binge. And, I mean, can't stop here. It's backcountry.
It's backcountry. So this, I don't want to take it over, but you really can't describe too much of the plot without just know that every scene is something different. There's a stop once they get to the place, but then it keeps going. Like it's less of a traditional road movie, but it's 100% a road movie.
Who directed that?
That was Terry Gilliam.
Yeah, I love Terry Gilliam. The world immersion.
Yeah.
Oh, insane.
It's just.
I think they do a very good job of for drug movies in general, they weren't corny at all with this movie. Everything was definitely needed to happen. Like when he takes the 6 tabs of acid.
So that's what I was going to mention.
So bats are attacking him while he's driving.
It's not necessary, but this is based on a book by
salt shaker. Look what God did to us, man! You're driving in a convertible trying to do coke off your thumb.
Why am I blanking? The Hunter S. Thompson. So this is based on a book by Hunter S. Thompson, which is, according to Hunter S. Thompson, an actual, this all actually happened. But if you were to take that in truth, as Joe said, they had a trunk full of drugs. So what is and what isn't real is up in the air.
There
but that's
are
like
liberties.
not the point.
He wrote fiction based on reality.
Right. And what Ian was mentioning, the 6 tabs of acid, in the book, it's very elaborate in how they describe his hallucinations. So if there is a cheesy part in the movie, it would be that scene, but it had to be like it.
And it wasn't even cheesy.
No, it wasn't. But the dinosaurs and the lizard people,
and the floor's blood.
It was. I agree with Ian. Of all the times that
The
you see,
adrenochrome.
oh yeah,
the Ethereum,
when he,
everything.
The way that they. First off, the way that they portray a sober person's perspective on what's happening to the druggie, but also what
Christina Ricci's reaction.
also what the induced is experience is probably the best I've ever seen drug inducing on screen. Like it's
great.
just it.
I mean, it's the deserving culmination of why Johnny Depp is the only person allowed to play Hunter S. Thompson.
Absolutely.
Well, he spent time living with Hunter S. Thompson
in his basement
to really
for 2
capture,
years.
and they became good friends all the way up until Hunter S. killed himself.
Yeah,
it was so devastating for Johnny, but then Johnny narrated a documentary, which I highly recommend you guys listen to or watch. Rather, it's really really good. A lot to learn about the man, but. This isn't the only time this book was made into a movie.
No, it's been
Bill Murray. Was it Bill Murray who played Hunter S. Thompson? I don't remember the name of the movie, but it's just I think.
Yes.
My reason for bringing this up, and I haven't seen that original,
what was the name of that?
This movie most certainly could not have been this movie without Terry Gilliam. I think Terry Gilliam's
100%. Yeah.
Weird idea of what is reality, but a way to he does weird reality the best.
Look. Terry Gilliam once held Bruce Willis and a whole crew for 12 hours waiting on a gerbil.
Yeah. I was going to say a rat, but you're right. It was a gerbil.
It was a gerbil to spin a wheel. And if you're not looking for it, you wouldn't notice.
No.
But that's how serious this man is about his world immersion. Like, nope. If the rat don't work, we don't leave.
And what's wild about this movie is in a trailer, like you wouldn't gather in any of the marketing, the reading the back, or even looking at the cover that this is a comedy of it's not a thriller, but it's a dramatic comedy, but more comedy than drama.
It's not a dramedy, but it is a dramatic comedy. I see what you're saying.
You know, like it's not a serious movie, like at 100%, but it's portrayed in a very surreal way where the entire time you realize these guys are fucking themselves up with the amount of copious drug use they're doing, like just mixing and matching.
Oh man, the ether scene at Circus.
What scene was it where he was too high on one thing, so he was taking something else, and then he needed to balance. It was just this
scene wasn't that?
Exactly.
But the inner monologue that he has throughout the whole movie is just so good too, because it just like really shows you how he's feeling while he's on all of these drugs.
Yeah.
Like, when he first checks in and the people are lizards and the floor is blood and he's like in his own head trying to get a drink at the bar and everyone around him is just normal people.
When he's ethered up, as Joe had mentioned, Johnny Depp's performance of him trying to
just go through a
normally.
turnstile. Yeah. Just.
But yeah, I mean, we can't do this movie justice just by talking about it. But if you've not seen it or not really been aware of what this movie offers, it's bonkers. It's anti-drug in the best way possible, but while having so much fun in the world of copious drug use.
It definitely made me want to take acid.
All right, Joe, what is... Oh, that was your pick. Okay, so that's on to me. So let's see. I've got some variety. I know. I'm gonna go with. I don't remember what year it is. I'll figure it. Oh no, change my. God damn it! I only got 2 more picks left, right? Or is this my second?
This is your second.
Oh, okay, cool. I'm gonna go with this one. Into the Wild.
Damn it! I mean, yeah, no. I mean, obviously on my list, such a good movie.
Into the Wild. Emil Hirsch,
amazing,
plays a. If I'm remembering correctly, he came from a well-off family. He went to a well-off school, and after graduation, he didn't want to just float through life. He wanted to like really normalize himself, and so he took a foot travel from somewhere in the South. I believe he lived in the South somewhere, and then just on foot traveled all the way north through California, through Las Vegas, into Alaska.
He got
journaling his
nomad
entitled
life.
journaling journaling his entire experience to the end that he would experience. And it's based on a real life experience or a true story. And as he moves along and hitchhikes, he meets all kinds of people. Was it Kirsten Dunst that was in there? No, Kristen Stewart.
Kristen Stewart.
Vince Vaughn is in it. It's 2007.
There's a lot of good cameos in it that are small, not too long lasting characters because he never stays place. The Kristen Stewart character is probably one of the longest ones because he's there for a while.
Yeah.
And she's with two other people and they like sell books.
They're like hippies. Yeah. And so what I really love about this movie,
it's a community of bus life.
The genuine introspection into like
the
capitalism
derogatory term is
and
gypsies. They don't like that.
The van life. The idea of having nothing to experience everything. And while it's definitely not something that all of us are strong enough to do, this movie exists to kind of experience it with him and, separately, what is it? Word I'm looking for, vicariously live that experience and the treachery with him from the safety, obviously, of our couches with popcorn and cold soda. But there's so much to experience about human nature that I think Emile Hirsch did a phenomenal job. Once I saw that movie, I thought we would never not see Emile Hirsch again. I don't remember what happened to him. I think he's had some legal troubles or something, but
he's still making movies.
He's amazing.
I just saw one. He just tried.
Sean Penn directed this.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, an amazing film, dude, really. And Emile Hirsch, I believe, just had a recent release. I think he's trying to make a comeback. I don't know what happened to him or whatever. It doesn't matter. To me, like your art, your profession, like it needs to be separate from your personal life.
Absolutely.
People get too invasive. Like,
I agree.
Sure, people can be scumbags, but honestly, I don't care what Emile Hirsch did. I enjoy him as an actor.
I must separate the art from the artist.
Him as a person.
It's don't do bad things. I can't condone you for the
I'm not
bad
gonna,
things that
I don't
you're
even
doing.
want to know.
Right.
Because it's not my business.
But it doesn't change a beautiful performance from being a beautiful performance.
That's it.
Agreed.
And when it comes to artists, sometimes it's that fucked up nature that is them. Like I'll use
that's what brings the beauty sometimes.
I'll use drugs and alcohol from the 70s and 80s. The 70s and 80s music was clearly different in its style than it is now when artists are being more clean. I support them being clean, but that doesn't mean that somehow the ingestion of all of the drugs and alcohol didn't make Black Sabbath.
Oh,
right.
You can't deny that.
Ozzy Osbourne wouldn't have been Ozzy Osbourne without all the drugs.
Anybody who knows me knows I'm an anarchist, and to me, I believe that you hold the duality of evil and morality in your own possession, right? Mm-hmm. So what that means to me is I'm an advocate for drugs, but I'm also an advocate for mediation
and responsibility.
Right? And responsibility. You're responsible for yourself, and you know what you can handle. Society doesn't. Mm-hmm. But do it responsibly.
Mm-hmm. And you should get in trouble for things that you should be getting in trouble for.
You should, yeah. And sometimes we fuck up. I've been in jail a couple times. Never for anything violent, never hurt anybody. I just don't like being told what to do. Yeah. So I break rules when, not because I want to break them, but because you told me not to. Mm-hmm. I've gotten over that, but kind of. But my point is, that you hold your own responsibility. So yeah,
Ian, what is going to be your next pick?
My next pick here. Let's see. I got to pick a good one.
I mean, you've been killing it so far, so don't hold back.
I did have Fear and Loathing on my list, and I did really want to bring that up.
And don't worry, we will get to honorable mentions. So whatever you don't pick, you get to at least skim over. For sure.
I'm going to pick Chef from 2014.
That was on my list
glad
too.
you brought
John
that up. Is that the Favreau one?
Man.
Yes. I need to see that, but I had no idea that it was a road movie.
For Favreau,
they traveled a food truck, so I figured it counted.
Yeah, dude. So good.
It's a heartfelt family dramedy. Directed by Jon Favreau.
Favreau.
He also stars in it, and the fact that his wife is Sofia Vergara is so funny to me in that movie because
It's
come
just
on,
classic.
like, let's be honest.
Well,
It's like
if
the
you
Adam
could cook
Sandler-
like that, you can get an ass like that.
I agree.
That's real shit.
It's like the Adam Sandler effect, though. Adam Sandler
yeah.
always
Yeah.
has the hottest wife in all of the movies.
Because if you can make them laugh or stop them from being hungry, you got them.
There you go.
Got them.
That's advice from Joe, everybody.
But there's also
write it down.
Also cameos from
Write that
Robert
down.
Downey Jr. and Scarlett Johansson in this movie.
And is John Leguizamo is his sous chef, right? And
Yep.
I fucking love John Leguizamo so
The
much.
only reason I didn't mention him is because I didn't know how to say his last name, so I didn't want to
Leguizamo.
butcher it too bad here on the pod.
There was a pod I listened to where they consistently kept calling him Leguizamo.
That's how it looks. That is how it looks. Quick synopsis, though. Carl, played by John, is a prestigious chef that gets worked too hard to the point where he quits. After going to Miami, he teams up with his ex-wife, Sofia Vergara, and best friend Martin, played by John. What's his last name?
Leguizamo.
There you go. His best friend and his son Percy. They buy a food truck to travel the country where they all become closer, and Carl rekindles his love for cooking.
Yeah,
Favreau's had some really good movies. I've always been a fan of the stuff that he wrote.
he's so great, dude. And especially when he isn't focusing on the big studio blockbusters like I Love You, Man. With Jason Segel and Paul Rudd. Just amazing. I mean, I know that was directed by John Hamm, but that's Jon Favreau production. And I've been a fan of that.
Which movie?
I Love You.
I think you were right.
Yeah, I Love You,
Brother.
Man.
Oh,
I Love
Man,
You, Man.
yeah.
Like Jon Favreau played a character in that, but he was definitely involved in it. And I don't know if he, regardless, I just love when he takes a step back from making his, because he's huge now, like with Iron Man and The Mandalorian and all this Star Wars shit. But I remember him from, back in the day from Swingers.
Swingers. He wrote that
From, what was the other one? Not
Maid.
Swingers, Maid.
That was his first directorial.
That was his first. And then The Big
directed.
Empty, dude. The Big Empty was such a flop and such a missed, beautiful fucking movie, dude. And that was one of his directorials in his early career.
Joey Lauren Adams. He didn't direct. That was Steve Anderson written and directed.
Okay, well, my bad. But he's amazing in it.
It's like Kevin Costner. If Kevin Costner's in a movie, Joe's like, if Kevin directed that, it's shit. And I'm like, well, Kevin didn't direct that one. Oh, okay, well, it's still shit.
There you go.
It's still shit.
But I can get behind Jon Favreau directing himself, although he doesn't do it a lot. And that's what I love about him is he knows the hierarchy, and whatever place he's in, he rocks his role.
That's
And
a great point.
I appreciate that about
Yeah,
him.
because his character in Chef isn't anything crazy, He's just this chef.
But he's amazing.
He is a
He
good
does,
actor.
absolutely.
He's very good at playing a variety of different roles, and I don't think he's ever really gotten
And I think that's why
widespread
he's
appreciation for that.
so famous.
The fact that most
at
people
running
know him
movies 'cause
as
that instinct.
What's his character from Iron Man? That's what people most recognize him
Happy,
for now.
yeah.
Happy, yeah.
Happy Hogan.
And he's so much more than that as far as an actor is concerned.
Yeah,
he's
so
given
much
so
more
much
Happy.
more variety to his performances, and he's only happy because I gave him a chance to be in Marvel, and he started because he was directing. He just wanted to be in
he
it,
was
but
directing and executive producing.
exactly.
Yeah.
It was that was his focus.
Ultimately, he stepped
And
back.
then he got
to
stuck in because he
producing.
did such a good job. It became a whole fucking
how
universe.
can you not love Jon Favreau, man?
Agreed.
No matter where I see him, like where I was saying I Love You, Man, where he's playing the guy you're supposed to kind of hate.
Right.
I loved hating him. Like, I kind of had a hate man crush on him. I was like, get the fuck out of my house right now after he gets puked on. Like, oh, man. Like, it's just, he's delicious at every bite.
Yeah.
There you go.
So
I think we found Joe's man crush right there, too, a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
I mean, we've touched on a few of them. Justin Long, I'm probably like 32 days straight for that. I don't know if you've listened to Pete Holmes, the stand-up comedian, but he says, even if you're straight, you're only like like how many days till gay? Like desert island
only days
gay.
away.
Oh, Desert Island gay is hilarious.
Dude, the stand-up thing that he does, he's like, so if it was me and Daddy Gaz, he's talking about Ryan Gosling, he's like, I'm 28 days straight. Because after on night 27, he roasts a pig, cuddle, and
Well, those abs, are they Photoshop?
anyways.
All right, so
I digress.
I am going to throw in my comedy into the hat. Oh, I did skip Joe. Damn. Thank you, Ian.
Always
I was about to say.
No, we were just on that for a while, and Joe talked so much about it, I started to feel like it was his pick.
I mean, that was a good pick's a good pick.
No, 100%.
Surprised you didn't put it on your list there, Joe.
It was
on his list.
Oh.
Chef, yeah, it's right there. Right underneath Into the Wild. See that? So
We're taking all his picks.
I got to get. Oh, dude, no, I knew. You look at the ones I numbered. I'm fully aware of.
What are you sharing lists for?
He's not actually reading these.
I just glazed over it.
So tell us what your next.
So number 3 is Dutch.
Ah, okay.
Yes, sir. If anybody remembers, I got to type it in here to get the data. So if you could help me,
it's 1991 with
Al Bundy, dude.
Ethan Embry and Ed O'Neill, and Ed O'Neill. Ed O'Neill is the stepfather of Ethan Embry, and so he agrees to go to the parochial school to pick him up for, I believe, Thanksgiving or Christmas or something like that.
Thanksgiving, yeah.
And they end up on a road trip, and he keeps communicating back to his new wife as he's trying to get along and learn. It's just
1991.
It's a fun movie.
Yeah, Ethan Embry, directed by Peter Feynman. Yeah, it's such a fun little romp. You know what I mean? For like the late 80s, early 90s, and
it's Ed O'Neill. It's hilarious.
Yeah. Hilarious Ed O'Neill. If you love Married with Children or Modern Family, you will love.
I would say I was going to say it's like Home Alone on the road, but it's not like Home Alone in the sense that there's traps and blah blah blah. No. But it's got that same.
It's kind of Planes, Trains, and I don't want to bring that because nobody's going to mention that. Right? Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Right.
I didn't even think about
meets Home Alone.
Yeah.
Right. Or it's kind of over the top. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Sure,
like it's a
kid's road movie with some of the same.
This is a stepdad,
but toned down. It's the same type of like comedy that you'd get in a kid's 80s live action movie or family live action 80s movie, plus what would have been like a solid adult road movie, but with toned down jokes, but it still has the same. I forget what kind of trouble they get into. This was actually one that I put on my list at the last minute. I was like, holy shit, how did I forget about Dutch?
Oh, that was the first one. Over the Top and Dutch were the first two that came to my mind. I was
showering before coming over here and I was like, I gotta add Dutch to my list.
So the overview is working man Dutch Ed O'Neill is dating a divorced Natalie JoBeth Williams.
Oh, they're just dating. Okay, it's not even a stepfather.
And he offers to drive her stuffy 13-year-old Doyle, played by Ethan Randall, now Ethan Embry. Yes. From his private school in Atlanta to his mother's home in Chicago for Thanksgiving. Doyle is not interested as he blames Natalie for the divorce and wants nothing to do with mom's new boyfriend, especially given the man's lowly working class roots. You snob. This pairing makes for a journey filled with bickering, mishaps, and eventually bonding.
It all comes back in the end.
No, but I'm telling you, like they run into thugs. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's a lot of situations that force them closer together. Like the whole crux of a road movie. Like they could have just stared out the window the entire road trip.
Gets a black eye at some point. Like there's all this,
and the kid's a little asshole if I remember right.
Oh yeah, he's a stuck-up little pompous prick.
But what is a road trip without bickering and bonding?
But exactly, 100%,
like
100%. Ian.
Dude's like, "Oh, your coat stinks," and he's like, "Well, you want to freeze? It's good."
And it's classic Ed O'Neill. Like it's
classic
Ed O'Neill is. I like.
He has his own brand of humor, just like Zan, like we were talking about.
And at the time I watched this movie, I wasn't a watcher of Married with Children, and I don't think I would have got it as a kid. Like every time I saw it as a kid,
you didn't see. No. I saw this as a child. I thought it was hilarious.
Well, you showed me Dutch, so I definitely didn't see Dutch as a child. I saw it.
I showed you
10, 13 years back.
Yeah.
Here at Gloria. Yeah.
That's fucking amazing.
Yeah.
There goes that poster again.
It was one of those ones where I was like, how did we not see this? 91, we were renting movies every Friday at Blockbuster. I don't know how this didn't land on our plate.
It's not grotesque.
Right?
Not
at all. No,
it should have fit into
it
your
checked all the boxes.
Christian,
Checked all the boxes. It just didn't happen. I mean, it just happens that way. Somehow
Sorry,
it just didn't
I'm
end
not
up.
talking shit.
But
she don't listen.
At the same time, it held up. So seeing it in 20 years later as an adult, not not even in a family scenario, it was you and me just kicking back watching the movie. It was fucking great.
It's so fun.
It hits all the 80s, 90s. I mean, it's 91. You got to know that 91 is still the 80s. There's remnants of decades, and in the
1990,
4 and 5 is the years that you really start to
1990 didn't really start till 1993.
Right, exactly.
The fall of, by the way.
Exactly.
That's when we lost the day glow.
But I
got into the hammer pants.
Ooh. Oh yeah. Oof. Oh yeah. Pillow pants were a thing.
Adam's family.
So
nicely done, sir. I was not expecting that.
My next recommendation is going to be the 2011 Alien Across the Country road trip with Seth Rogen.
Oh yes, Paul.
Sean. It's Paul. Simon Pegg. That's it. And Nick Frost.
Yes.
And so it's two Europeans who saved up forever to get a trip to Comic-Con.
And it just hit Netflix last week, y'all.
I just watched it today because I put it on my list.
Oh, man. They rented an RV. They wanted to go hit all the Area 51 spots, and they happen across an alien who is the alien that we all know, and he's the reason that we know the big eyes and the weird head, but he's just a stoner slacker. Like, he's basically Roger,
he's
right?
Seth Rogen. He's basically Roger, yeah.
And so it's a buddy
American Dad.
It's a buddy travel. The Men in Black played by Jason Bateman and
Jason
and Bill Hader.
And what's the little dude from Superbad? He was also
Brooklyn
in
Nine-Nine.
He's so good.
He did so much stuff.
He's in so much stuff, and he's so good. And I never remember his name.
All led by what's her name from Halloween. John a blank here. You know her. Jamie Lee Curtis. Thank you. But yeah, I mean, it's them at that point then trying to run. One of them is a comic artist, and it's just, I don't want to ruin like all of it, but it's
so good.
It's hilarity in an RV and with an alien, and you've got all types of cameos popping up with different characters bringing their comic genius, like their individual.
In my opinion, it's the fourth of the Cornetto series.
Sure, for sure.
It's the nail in the coffin.
The only thing that kept it is it's not directed by what's his name?
Edgar Wright.
Edgar Wright, yeah.
No, of course.
But otherwise, I mean, it's written.
But the Simon Pegg and Nick Frost aspect, in the way that was kind of their like, we're done doing these.
I just thought of another one that's got to go on, but it's going to be mentioned because I'm not going to put it on the list. But this made me think.
Okay, we'll put it on the honorable mentions.
There's also a lot of little Easter eggs in that movie too that I noticed. Like when they stop at the gas station, Paul's like, "Let me get some Reese's Pieces."
Oh yeah.
A lot of
E.T. Oh, so many tropes.
Star Wars.
Tongue in cheek.
But I love the way they do the tropes because they don't do it visually. Like you got to be paying attention for them. You know?
Yeah, even they're at this bar and they get a big bar fight and they got the Star Wars Cantina song playing, and I'm like, come on, man.
They ultimately piss off some locals. That wasn't that
T-Bones.
Yeah, it was what's his name from
he's in so many things. I can't think of his name.
Well, I call him T-Bones because he had that
he
show.
He plays Dick in American Dad.
Yeah, he does play Dick. But he also he had a show on Comedy Central called The Naked Trucker and T-Bones.
Oh, I didn't.
And his name was T-Bones.
Oh, okay. No, I did not
so I
know
just
that.
call him T-Bones. T-Bones or Champ from Anchorman.
Champ, yep, him.
Whammy!
That guy, that's the guy.
I just love that every time they run into a new set of characters, they always thought that they were a gay couple going across the country, no matter what.
That was a running gag.
Yeah. But even Jane Lynch is the bartender at the Alien House.
I love Jane Lynch.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah,
she's in so much.
It's packed with people that they paid for a day to be hilarious.
Oh, absolutely.
He orders the milkshake with the sprinklers, and it comes out at the most inopportune time.
Yep.
Because why wouldn't you, man?
Wrong?
They don't eat like that in the UK.
They wouldn't even. That would never be on the menu. In
That
the
was
UK.
a treat.
I don't even think they know what sugar is.
And the two hillbillies are eyeing them up, and they're like,
they don't know what high fructose corn is.
Yeah, don't they just put beans in there?
Beans for sure. Yep. But he's like, leave the shake. We gotta go. And then they back into their truck.
Yeah, Dunzo. Yeah, I love
movie.
it. Jason Bateman plays like a hilarious, subtle FBI,
He's
CIA.
the only serious character in the whole movie.
But he's still funny.
Yeah,
that's what I love about Jason Bateman. His ability
to straight man. Yeah, he honestly, I think you could give him a run for your money.
I wouldn't mind acting against him.
I have seen you stare down some serious.
I got Preston the other day. So
oh my god, dude.
Yes.
I have a skill of holding it, but he's cracked me just.
That's what I did to him.
Just with the blank cracker stare.
He did something that was so it was inconsequential, and I made a big deal out of it. It was him and Melissa, and I was like, just gave him the stare, and he looked offended at first, but then I was like, okay, so I'm just gonna keep staring. As I was leaving the room, and I closed the door, then I opened the door back up and leaned back out, staring at him, and he just had this look like.
The fuck was that?
Yeah. No, if you haven't worked with Bradford, you definitely can't tell when he's being serious or not sometimes, but you pick up on those things.
Serious.
Never.
Unless he's actually mad, which, I mean, again,
which a lot of people think is more often than it actually is.
No, I rarely see you get genuinely upset. Unless it's like, we're not
so
making
you
a
can
day.
tell the difference between a raised voice and an actual irritation.
You gotta be my dad, yeah.
Yeah.
People, like my sister always like, stop yelling at me. I'm like, he's not even yelling. Like, you'll know when he's yelling.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
You'll feel it when I'm yelling. Just because, I'm hyped up. Don't get me mad.
No, you two are definitely
I'm just excitable. Okay.
The two guys that I really haven't seen get too upset, but when you can tell when it happens because of how silly you guys are normally.
As soon as that switch flicks, you're like, oh shit.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But then I can switch right back on and continue the conversation.
But
that's
the
whole
thing too is it's
let
never,
it out so it stops weighing on you.
And it's never me that's causing these pains to you guys.
And that's why you get to see them.
Yeah, absolutely.
You get the funny part.
Absolutely.
I've walked up to you and go, this just happened. I won't give him some details, and then I just go, what the fuck?
Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, yeah, Joe, I get it.
All right, so that's Paul. That was my pick. So that brings us to Ian, and if I'm not mistaken, this is our last
final pick, y'all.
Yeah,
man, this is going by fast. This is a good conversation, y'all.
Okay, so I got a couple here to choose from, man, and one is a real curveball. That's why I think I'm going to pick that. But we're going to go over honorable mentions, right?
Yep, okay. Absolutely, absolutely.
Man. Okay. I think I brought it up earlier. It might have been before the podcast, but I'm going with Stand By Me.
Oh, okay.
Oh, nice.
They don't.
You did. You mentioned
it's
you had
not a road trip.
Well, it is though. They go out. They leave town. They're young people. They can't drive.
Every destination they land on,
they almost get killed by a train.
Yeah, well, just the one kid who won't get off the track.
It's an adventure, but I feel like that absolutely.
I love this.
They're limited.
Oh, absolutely.
Like Joe said, they can only. Did they have bikes?
No,
regardless.
I mean, they might have, but
they were going the railroad.
They were always
taking the bikes.
They were always traveling. That 100. I pass it. Let it go.
So yeah, this is directed by Rob Reiner with River Phoenix, Will Wheaton, Jerry O'Connell, and Corey Feldman. After learning about a possible dead body, 4 boys, Gordy, Vern, Chris, and Teddy, decide to go see it for themselves. They follow the train tracks for hours where they encounter a scrapyard dog, a marsh full of leeches, and they learn a lot about each other and their home lives. This small adventure quickly turns into a memory that will last forever.
And Richard Dreyfuss ends up being the grown-up Will Wheaton as like the narrator, and like he's writing the story.
And Kiefer Sutherland is one of the
antagonists.
Yeah,
like the older brother, or whatever he was.
He's one of the older brother's friends who's like
that's who tells him about the dead body.
He's the town antagonist.
Yes.
Yeah, the River Phoenix character is best friends. his older brother's best friends with the Kiefer Sutherland character. So he's under the porch digging for like pennies that he buried years ago, and he hears about this dead body, and they just.
Did you know that it was a novella by Stephen King?
Really?
Yeah, it's actually a Stephen King.
It's like
story.
the most mild Stephen King story to ever exist.
Well, I mean, it all depends on how you interpret it after you get the source material.
I guess so.
For sure. Yeah, but what's really cool about it is, I mean, a lot of these young actors went on and had an incredible career, but at the time they are still young actors, and it was a phenomenal performance.
Stellar, dude. And the emotional depth that these young children are
absolutely.
able to. I can see why all of them have gone on to be successful. Aside from the one tragedy.
River Phoenix, who unfortunately passed. But, unless you were referring to the tragedy that is Corey Feldman, but that's a different...
No, I was definitely referring to...
Currently on tour with Limp Bizkit.
What?
I will say, I think one of my favorite scenes in that movie is when they go to the junkyard. And because they already had like the story from the older brothers, the dog and the guy that owns the junkyard, and then they actually get there and they hop the fence and they're leaving. He's like, "Sick 'em in the balls," and they're all like, "No!" And they run and jump over the fence.
Sick balls.
Yeah. Sick 'em.
I mean, it's a palpable story. It's really
it's very well
It's a great
shot.
coming of age.
Absolutely,
it's
80s coming of age.
Yeah,
and that was one of those other minivan TV movies for us.
And it's another one because it takes place in the 50s or the 60s that it just.
That was more the 40s, honestly.
But it's a period piece, right?
It was during World War I.
It doesn't, because it's an older film, being an older story, it kind of lives on. I think today's generation can still look into it. The 2 scenes that John Cusack
was in, he played the older brother, Gordy. He died in World War I. So that's when the era.
Yeah, but
it was 1945.
My point being that this is a movie that generations on will still be able to enjoy because it's already a piece telling about the past.
100%.
The story is
literally
such young
the Sandlot a generation earlier.
We all. I mean, I grew up in the burbs, but I wanted that. I had to stay within reach. I couldn't go driving, riding my bike so far away.
No, but this
was wanted to. You wanted to be able to just go get lost in the park and find an adventure like this.
I watched this at a young age with my father, and he would tell me, he'd be like, "Oh, we didn't walk the tracks," but he grew up in the house we're recording in right now. This is actually a family home.
Oh, wow.
Which is right by the train tracks.
And the railroad tracks are literally 2.5 blocks away, as is an extra block and a half is Eloise in Sanitarium, which is now a haunted house and all that. But when he lived here in the 50s, growing up, that was in a sane asylum. That was a sanitarium, and he would have to walk by there to go to the grocery store, and there'd be people at the gate. I heard all these stories about where he would go to the store with his friends, or get on the bus for a nickel and go downtown and watch a game.
The suburban sprawl was different.
These are things that they did. They had cheap public transportation.
There was a lot of space.
Kids were allowed to just go places
where your friends lived and where you lived, and so staying on the block wasn't the same.
No, a lot of those stories were him being sent to the corner store to get his mom cigarettes.
Well, that's what I love about
He's talking about a 7-year-old buying cigarettes and beer.
Yeah, it's just such a story that you would hear your grandpa tell you about this one time we walked down the train tracks to go see a dead body.
Yeah, because as watching this, my dad's this reminds me of the time, and he's telling me real stories while watching this.
And
movie.
It's just so simple and effective too.
I agree.
And every time I watch this movie, I rehear those stories from my father.
Yeah. I think the only thing that would prevent me from trying to shoot something like this on my own is having to work with minors. Trying to do that
sounds a little strange.
I mean, if you had a powerhouse of minors like that, dude.
Well, but that's what I mean. Trying to find, and your shooting hours suck when you're trying to work with minors. But
they got 6 to 8 hours.
Yeah, tops. But if I could find some 18-year-olds that look 16,
Detroit, we could work them 14 here in Detroit.
We don't,
not legally.
They do it to me all the time.
Yeah,
well, you're not 14.
Dang it.
The biggest problem is Detroit is that the mobs ran out the unions, and we're still trying to get them back.
All right, Joe, on that note.
My turn?
Yes, sir.
So I've already pre-selected number 4 because if this movie doesn't make it into the conversation first of all, I won't forgive myself, but neither will my wife. To Wong Fu, thanks for everything.
Okay, so hold on. I'm going to stop you there. That movie takes place in a singular town started by a road trip.
But it's a road trip movie.
It is not.
Yes, it is, because they leave the town and continue on their journey.
So
the plot is entirely in the town.
But do they start with the road trip?
Yes.
They start
so the whole it's a road trip that because a predicament arises that traps them.
But literally their car breaks down and that's why they're there.
Yeah, but I got one like that on my list too, where it's like the beginning is a road trip, but then something happens.
And I don't feel like
you can argue all you want,
but that's your pick.
But Peace Ways will never lose.
I'm just letting you know my opinion.
This is Patrick Swayze, Wesley Snipes.
It's a great movie.
And John Leguizamo in drag. Okay, and
in drag.
It is 1995. Mm-hmm. Bringing attention to the drag and trans community.
Sure.
Okay? And it's a beautiful story.
No, none of that is wrong.
The look that Joe gave you.
I gave him a drag queen tisk.
There
and
you go.
I would hope that Daniel Parker would be proud of me. Thank you, Momo. Okay, elite Manhattan drag queens. So they're from Manhattan and they get trapped in Ohio.
Dude,
okay, come on.
I get that. But the story, the plot is not moved by their movement.
Vida Boheme, played by Patrick Swayze, and Noxeema Jackson, played by Wesley Snipes, impressed regional judges in competition, securing berths in the Nationals in Los Angeles. When the two meet pathetic drag novice Chichi Rodriguez, played by John Leguizamo, one of the losers that evening. The charmed Vida and Noxeema agree to take the hopeless youngster under their joined wing. Soon the three set off on a madcap road trip across America and struggle to make it to Los Angeles.
Literally, they're in the town before the end of the first act. It is not a road trip movie, but regardless, we're here.
Mr. Stickler.
We're here.
That's the end of the synapse.
Stand by.
I get that.
It's a road trip.
But they do travel.
Wait, the synapse doesn't mention that their car breaks down and they spend the next hour and a half. It's an hour and 52-minute movie. By the end of the first 30 minutes, they are trapped in town.
It says soon the three set off on a madcap road trip across America.
And
they don't even have. They
struggle to make it.
They literally don't have scenes from the time they leave. It's the opening sequence of them on the road, and then they come back from the title sequence.
Oh no, they get lost for quite a while.
I'll have to watch it again.
Yeah,
I don't remember that much. Like
it sounds like they were on a road trip, Bradford.
They were definitely from
here's the thing. It's
New
on
York
the list
to LA.
It's on the list. I just want any descending listener to be like, no, I'm with Bradford.
All I have to say is anytime Bradford protests this much,
we're gonna roll it. Yeah, we're gonna roll it.
Will
100%, and then we can talk about
But dude, this movie is beautiful. It's powerful.
I'm not arguing the goodness of the movie or the story.
Well, maybe you should start talking about the goodness of the movie. Because
I think it's great. What I love about this movie is the fact that in 1995, these three men were the most masculine of masculine performers out there.
Yes,
and for them to fully commit to
high heels and dresses
roles that it's not even just that. Like
they were
Patrick Swayze.
Yes.
Patrick Swayze plays such a convincing den mother that
so good.
Like most of the town believes them, and it wasn't. There's the line. How did you know?
Yeah,
Adam's apple.
Yeah, they're like in the middle of like
is
Ohio
it like a Miss
or
Doubtfire situation?
100% a lot because
they think they're women.
It's a southern town.
They never present themselves.
Presumably, the leaning nature of the people in the town wouldn't be very accepting of these three men and their choices in life, right? Especially in 1995.
You've heard the term one horse town.
This is it.
They didn't even have
this
that.
Is it. But by the end,
so it's the mid 90s, and they
break down. They're stuck there. They have to be themselves because they showed up as women. So they just have to play it out because they're just uncomfortable
so
otherwise.
Like white chicks,
or you know what? I don't want to say that because there's three different people with three different story arcs. So I don't think that they're all in a collective, but they're pretty much forced by one of them. I think it was Patrick Swayze. He was like, "Listen, girls, we've got to just play this ruse out." But then you've got like John Leguizamo's character
be seen without makeup.
Falls in love with a boy from town, and he battles with am I lying to him because he thinks I'm a woman. So it's a movie that really does touch and address upon a lot of important topics. It's funny, and it has heart in a way that is
self-deprecating.
It's just, I think,
but also self-aware.
It's a movie that's worth watching that I don't think has gotten credit outside of the expected communities to have watched it.
It had its impact when it came out.
It did well.
It's gone by the wayside, and I think
correct.
It's
it's 95. There might be some controversial things even in their representation, and that I can't speak on. But at the same time, at this time, I still think I appreciate and applaud the effort of what was trying to be done.
Oh yeah, it was a beautiful movie, beautiful message, and that's why it's on the list.
Yeah, it is a great movie.
And would it be my list if I didn't stretch your expectation of the topic at least once?
It almost reminds me, because I haven't seen this, it almost reminds me of The Perks of Being a Wallflower. Have you guys have seen that?
I have. Yeah, it's very
just like real story, like.
It's very real. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it has a very important commentary for the time. Like there was more going on this in the time than society would allow you to remember.
It was a town represented without TV, without they were living in their own little bubble, and their high life New York City lifestyle intruded upon their small town comfort.
Small town middle America.
And, it stressed their normality.
Like they didn't even have a stop sign, let alone a stoplight. No. It was,
real small town.
Yeah, like it
real
was
small
still
town.
like a
One
dirt
would
floor
say
saloon.
You didn't travel very far through the small town.
No, but you had to travel far to get to the small town.
You did.
And then they traveled far after leaving the small town.
So that is Joe's last pick, and I'm torn because I have some good ones here that are actual road movies. I'm just going to keep going on that.
Yeah, I'm sure you will.
But
I've got a bunch of them here.
I'm sure you did.
You could probably call not road movies too.
Man, it was Bradford's topic. He was ready.
But here's the thing.
Ready. It's his topic.
I was torn on one particular title because of the exact rules that I laid out. And now I'm like, well, do I just go ahead because Tu Wong Fu's on there and I really want to talk about this movie, or do I breeze past it in the?
Did you already mention that?
He did mention that.
What? No, this is my pick coming up. So I am going to go with one that takes place literally on a road, but unfortunately the trip does have a dramatic stop. And this is, hey, listen,
Didn't
you
he
got to
on you about that?
He did. He did. And
count.
Here it is.
It doesn't count, Brad. They
Here
stopped somewhere.
Here. You went along with it. You went along with it.
Say the fucking title.
Scenic Route.
Never heard of it.
Me neither.
That's why I wanted to actually spend some time on it. So Scenic Route it's 2013, and it stars Josh Duhamel, and it stars traditionally a comic. God, I typed into the wrong website. Forget his name. Hey, listen, if you're Dan Fogler. So they're longtime old friends, and I forget where they're trying to go, but the two of them get into this old rickety truck and head out on the road. And they're driving through the desert, and somewhere about halfway on their trip, Dan Fogler is just sick and tired of Josh Duhamel's character because he's a successful character, but they've grown apart.
Well, he always rubbing it in my face.
And so he was like, well, if we continue on like this, I'm not going to really get to have this reunion with my friend.
I actually do think I've seen this.
So
they're like going to the hunting cabin from one of their fathers or something like that.
I forget where they're going.
It's a place they went as a child. I know that.
But basically, Dan Fogler's character, I don't remember if that's a review. The car breaks down. And then they continue on foot. And
the exact same premise on Tu Wong Fu.
So, yeah, that's what I said. I said, hey, if the rules are broken, if this precedence is set. Precedence is set.
I mean, you're saying rules are broken.
We're
saying it qualifies. Sounds like you're outvoted 2-1.
This whole round has just been
if you want to die on a hill where you're outvoted, then you go ahead. Especially since you're following the rules I laid in play.
This actually might be his second walking movie.
The second one?
No, it's not my
He's
second
definitely
one.
pushing the rock uphill for eternity.
I already had one that I could have done. But so honestly, if we can get back to it, the Scenic Route starts to really bend with what is reality and what isn't reality because they're in the desert, right? They're dehydrated, they're starving, they're looking for help. People come and go. You meet the different passerbyers that change up like the randomness of what's happening. But I can't really speak any more on it other than the two of these actors carry this movie, other than the small cameos that pop in and pop out. Yeah. These two people carry this movie with so much energy and dramatic force that you forget that they aren't going anywhere once the car's broken down.
Right, because the story takes you on the journey itself.
But no, I hear what you're saying, and that's why I'm putting it on here, because like precedent was set.
No, precedent was set. Honestly, Josh Duhamel is, I think, the worst career move he ever made was going on Las Vegas. Because
I didn't even know who's on that. I thought you were going to say Transformers. Yes, that's what I thought you were going to say.
Because he's so good. He has such an arc. And I just watched one that he does like the main cameo on, and it's about like a shark infested waters, and it's based on a true story. And that one was like the way he
Jaws.
No, not Jaws.
No, I'm just joking.
But it's very like Jaws. Like it's they're chartering from Boston down to Miami, and they go overboard off the coast of like Naples.
You said this is recent as well, or you recently saw it?
I recently saw it, but it's only a couple years old.
Okay.
Like,
yeah, I honestly don't remember the last thing I've seen him in. He's just kind of, I don't want to say he's disappeared, but he's not in movies that have come across. Well,
he's gotten sick of the same stereotype that I'm sick of seeing him in.
Right.
And he's now taking smaller, like,
he's having fun
films.
with the roles that he gets to play.
And I'm telling you, so if I could remember this fucking movie, but it's about a open water shark attack. I think it's.
Is it open water? I didn't see open water, so it could be.
It could be open water. I don't think it is. That sounds a little too on the nose. Yeah, but it could be that. In the deep, no, it's definitely not that.
I'm flipping through his thing right now. Yeah, I forgot he was in Buddy Games.
Buddy Games is really good. They did two of those. That was really funny. It was great. It was kind of like if you've seen Tag, but
you're right. Yeah, I'm not seeing it on the top, so I don't want to
like dead it. That movie's silly.
Tag was silly.
Yeah. He's like getting married and he jumps up and tags.
It's a lifelong game of tag.
You take like Josh Duhamel is basically the John Hamm character in that one. You know what I mean? The successful one, and then there's just it's a group of four friends, and it's the same kind of like four buddies, and they all. But in Tag, there's like Ed Helms and Jeremy Renner. Yeah. They're both comparable. They're basically the same movie, done differently, of course.
Sure, and you always get that when Hollywood. One wins, they're going to try
Volcano, Dante's
like
Peak, Deep Impact, Armageddon.
Nailed it.
You know what I mean?
Nailed it. So that brings us to the end of our list tonight. We are going to do honorable mentions, but before we do that, could you hand him the dice?
Did you find that Josh Duhamel movie?
No, I was looking through, and none of them looks like what you were talking about, so I didn't want to kill dead air. So we'll figure it out.
Yeah, I'm gonna look
up Josh Duhamel on IMDb.
I got it right now.
Oh, okay. Well, you do what you're doing. So give us a roll there, Ian, and we'll see what we're gonna watch. Any one of these, I am totally open with. It's been so long since I've seen any of these.
6.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Hey, this is Paramount. This has not happened very often on this show at all, and it's one of my picks. Into the Wild,
there you go.
Which is available on Prime Video or VOD, and we're gonna watch Into the Wild. And I've literally only seen that movie once, and it was so impactful. Would you find that title?
Capsized.
When was it?
Capsized, Blood in the Water, 2019.
Okay, it was super recently. Yeah. I just fucking love Josh Duhamel. Josh Duhamel, and
he's amazing.
Josh Duhamel's up there with like Timothy Olyphant in like the everyday average look, but has some sort of like
what's
strange
funny?
Versatility.
This is a complete factual thing. So Josh Duhamel took a picture at like a party with Timothy Olyphant's family. Timothy Olyphant used that photo to send to his entire family as his Christmas card.
Oh, that's hilarious.
And his mom put it on the fridge.
And no one noticed?
She didn't notice until his brother pointed out that it was Josh Duhamel. She goes, doesn't he look so handsome in this photo? She goes, Mom, there's Josh Duhamel. And Timothy Olyphant tells that story on podcast. That's how I found out.
Oh, that's hilarious.
And he laughs about it. So they know how similar they are.
Okay,
and, cool. They fight over roles, apparently.
But here's the thing.
They are
so
both
good.
and that's what I was trying to say earlier. Like, because Timothy Olyphant, amazing character actor.
Yeah.
So fucking funny.
Yeah.
Same for Josh Duhamel.
Yeah.
They are but different in the comedy. They have their own thing, but at the same time,
have their own thing.
They have that same crazy dynamic.
I would
of that handsome,
if I wanted
almost
Timothy Olyphant,
like dirty blonde guy, the chiseled jaw.
Exactly. If I wanted Timothy Olyphant and he wasn't available and Josh Duhamel was, like, I would be as happy.
And vice versa.
Yes.
You're just losing a couple inches. Timothy
in a couple of years. I think
he could put on some stints. You know, he can get those 3-inch heels in.
So I'm going to run down our list real quick, and then we're going to get into our discards or honorable mentions. We're the Millers. Is it We're the Millers or We Are the Millers?
We're
the Millers, 2013, Over the Top, California with a K, Strange Wilderness, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, Into the Wild, which is our random pick to watch next week, Chef, Dutch, Paul, Stand By Me, Tu Wong Fu, Thanks for Everything, Julie Newmar, and Scenic Route. And that is a solid list.
That is a solid list.
And, you know, these were our last few picks. So I think it's awesome that we did stretch outside and
I don't think we did.
I just think, you know,
I don't think so either.
it's all good. I to be honest, I just really thought that when you said that
I'm just going to ride this as hard as you tried to.
when you said you couldn't live without putting a certain movie on the list, I totally thought that you had to put Blues Brothers down, and the fact that it's not on here blows my mind.
You know what? It is on my honorable
I know
mentions.
it's on your honorable
I
mentions.
expected you, because you're the Dan Aykroyd fan.
I'm not a Blues Brothers fan, not in the sense that I don't like it. It's in the sense that I didn't grow up with this, so I don't have the
You fucking love it.
I like the movie. I like the movie. I don't have.
Okay, so moving on to honorable mentions.
Yeah, so
since we
Ian.
started with Blues Brothers,
Ian.
I'm just going to run through mine real quick.
Let him go ahead.
All right, he's
The
passing
Blues
sword.
Brothers, Dumb and Dumber,
Yeah.
Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle.
Oh yeah.
And Little Miss Sunshine.
So the only duplicate on there was Little Miss Sunshine for me. I didn't put Harold and Kumar on there because I thought someone else might, and then there was the toss of the comedies, and I really wanted to mention.
Now,
Paul.
mind you, I also had Paul, Into the Wild, We're the Millers, and Chef
Yeah,
that
for
I
sure.
didn't mention on my list.
All right, Ian.
One that I really wanted to mention, but I haven't seen in a really long time, so that's why I really didn't. Actually, we used to have this thing called Movie in the Moonlight when I was growing up, and it'd be like a parking lot, and they have a big screen.
It's dope.
And you get to
we
go
used to
watch
call
a
them
movie.
drive-in movies.
Well, you didn't drive your car in, you had to bring a chair.
Yeah, he's talking about like
yeah.
movies at the park.
Oh,
Exactly,
okay,
just
okay,
like that.
okay.
Well, this was RV with Robin Williams.
Yeah, Rob
Oh,
Williams.
dude.
I can't
Classic.
believe no one else said
Yeah,
that. That's
well,
the-
I mean,
So yeah,
I've seen it.
It's fair.
it's
I've
not.
seen it.
Yeah, it's not
It
fantastic.
doesn't. Yeah,
but
it didn't come out at a time where I would hold on it and put it up just because I saw it for real.
Yeah.
and I was like, okay, this is good.
I
but
just
this
felt
is
that
not.
it fit the topic
Sure
too,
does.
just
Definitely.
too well.
Sure
It
does,
definitely
and it's
is
Robin
the topic.
Williams.
Absolutely.
And I would say it's a must see just because it's Robin Williams.
There's funny in it.
There is funny in it,
is.
but it's obviously like, in my opinion, when I watched it, it was very like even Robin phoned it in.
Sure. Yeah, was that? Yeah.
Some other ones I have here are We There Yet with Ice Cube?
Yes.
Okay.
Bad Trip, which is Eric Andre's like hidden camera prank movie.
That movie was nuts.
So funny.
Yeah, it's kind of like Jackass meets
Yeah.
Road
Okay,
Trip.
I remember that one now.
I was kind of thought about it more like, oh my gosh, what was that? like Borat.
Yeah,
Like
Oh, yeah,
Borat
it's
meets
definitely Borat,
Field or Road Trip.
yeah.
I did
meets
Fear and
Jackass.
Loathing as well. So this was my curveball. Was The Hills Have Eyes?
So here's the
Okay,
thing. It qualifies the same as Tu Wong Fu or Scenic Route does.
They start off in a road
Starts off as
trip.
a road trip,
Yep.
ends with them leaving, but the
Wow.
main plot
But then they
is they're
start for
stuck
camp, and they can. I mean, yeah.
They don't
Said
really.
the same thing about Lost in Paradise.
They don't really leave in The Hills Have
No.
Eyes, but some of them.
Yeah, I mean, I would say we let two others go on that fell in the same.
Yeah.
That would have been
Yeah, it
right
would've
in the
fit.
same
It
vein.
would've fit,
Right in the same
And my
vein.
last one that was also mentioned was Paul.
Yeah.
Good.
So the ones
list.
that I had several that were mentioned, but the ones that were not mentioned that I had were Detroit Rock City.
Nice.
Oh, Brother, Where Art Thou?
I almost put that on there.
Sex Drive was going to be my pick over like Road Trip or
Okay,
Euro Trip.
Yep. if
Sex
you're
Drive is
gonna-
just
yep.
funny, and
Yep.
I think Road Trip is just on the tip of most people's tongues. But I also had Midnight Run with Robert De Niro, which I
Okay.
recently watched, and it's
All right.
really good.
It
That's
is
an
good.
action
It's amazing.
road trip movie. The Fundamentals of Caring, because we had brought it up in discussion. I like that movie. Netflix Netflix, Paul Rudd and Selena Gomez. The Hitcher, the 2008 Sean Bean horror movie where they're hitchhiking.
Well,
they're going
that's
through
a remake because it
is a
80s
remake
movie.
with, I forget his name, but yes, but
Rutger Hauer.
I liked the 2008 because that's the one I saw.
Yeah.
And then the one that I thought of while
I'm sorry, and Sean Ben did great, but he's no Rutger Hauer.
Nobody is. And
The
when
rest of the
and
movie
honestly,
was
when
better. The villain was
the reason
worse.
I'm bringing
Does
it
that
up,
make sense?
yeah, and the reason I saved it
I like the new Hitcher, but I didn't like the new.
Sure.
Rutger Hauer is better than
Sure, and
Sorry, Sean.
it's what I saw, and I saw it during
100%.
I saw it during a time where I was binging.
Well,
like
you're voicing your
straight,
opinion. I voice mine.
straight to video or whatever horror movies. But the last one was the last ad that I thought of while we were talking about Paul, and that's Fanboys.
Okay, yeah, with
completely
what's her
forget
name?
about movie.
Veronica Mars, Kristen Bell,
And, a
Sean
lot
Astin
of the B and C cast from the
Elijah Wood's in
Apatow,
that too,
and because if it's not Martin Starr, it's the thin kid from Freaks and Geeks. I forget them all, but it's funny.
Martin Starr is the thin kid.
They're
From Freaks
on
and Geeks.
a-
You're thinking of Fogel. McLovin.
Yeah, maybe. I'll have to look it up. But it's basically on the eve.
The Crimson Ghost.
On the eve of the release of Star Wars Phantom Menace, you've got a van full of kids who are trying to see the movie before it comes out.
So good.
And they break into...
I actually just watched that last week.
and then another one that would qualify, but I think there's a better topic for it would be Tenacious D and Pick of Destiny.
Yeah, there's definitely a better topic for that. But is that a road trip movie?
One that I thought of too, just sitting here, was
There's a whole
Just
map
fucking with
sequence.
you, man.
but one I just thought of just now is The Mule with Clint Eastwood. It's a newer movie with
I
him.
did not
have
see
not seen
that.
Oh, it's good. I think it's on Netflix still.
Really?
Yeah.
Mexican would qualify.
I thought
liked
about
it.
the Mexican as well, but I think we kind of mentioned it
There
in
was
the
one
last
that
couple
I
of
was
weeks.
thinking about that I forgot it. Never mind.
But road trip movies are fun. I love
they're
road
so
trip
fun.
movies because, I mean, just looking at this list, not one of these movies is the same.
I mean, From Dusk Till Dawn would qualify.
I thought about that one as well. I did think about that one as well, but we had
Fucking vampire.
yeah, the fucking vampires. Quinn brought that one up, and it was such a strong rec that, not that it can't be double wrecked, it was like 4 episodes ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's our list. So Ian, before we say goodbye, do you want to connect with anybody, offer up any socials that you want to
Oh, yeah, sure.
lead out there?
I'll just throw my Instagram out real
That's
quick.
what we do.
My Instagram is _Ian_Carroll. That's Carroll with 2 R's and 2 L's and underscore.
And Joseph, how can people reach out to you?
Hit that at chaotic_artisan on the gram.
And on the gram, I am at Beeford Clark, but unfortunately, I can't log into the fucking thing anymore.
No.
Yeah, someone tried
Hack 'em
ordering
McGee.
like $700 worth of shit, and I complained, and then they just booted me out. So I'm still working with Instagram to try and get back on. But you can reach the show at ufostudio.detroit. All of our other links are in the show notes. You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. We would love if you would share and spread the word. If you enjoy the show, there's going to be others who enjoy us
get in
bickering
on
and
this
arguing
conversation.
and
Yeah.
recommending. But I also want to know your feedback. We mentioned a lot
What
of
was your
movies
favorite
tonight.
road trip movie?
Absolutely had to be something that we missed out on tonight. So let us know what that was. Give
Planes,
us
Trains, and Automobiles.
a
Tommy
rating.
Boy.
Tommy Boys, yeah.
Holy
Tommy
shit.
Boys, yeah.
That's the one that I was like, while we were doing honorable mentions, like, how did I not get Tommy Boy?
So, well, now you got it on there. But give us a rating and share, follow, subscribe, do all those things. We are trying to grow, and we hope that you love what you listen to. Email us at ufostudio.detroit@gmail.com with any suggestions of any coming topics that you'd like to hear us discuss, or give us the rundown of the titles that we missed out on. Or if you've seen a movie that we've recommended that was new to you, let us know about that too. I don't know why I've never mentioned that, but I'd love to hear about the movies that we've recommended that we've put you on and maybe put you onto a path of finding other movies. That's what we're all about here.
Hell yeah, man. We just want everything we've enjoyed to be experienced by other people.
Hell yeah. So thank you everybody for listening, and we will see you next time.
Check out the merch.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's twice he forgot it. He forgot it at the
What's
end.
the website?
He even told
Well, I
us he
put
was
it-
going to do it on the comeback.
I
and
put
you,
the
did.
you skimmed it, man.
I put the
UFO
I said the link.
Bazaar.
You guys, people are getting on to me about being shorter. So I was like, well, it's in the description. So I said it this time. They're like, isn't it all in the description? The merch you can find at our website at UFPodcast.podbean.com. And there's a link there for the UFO Bazaar. And there you will find the shirts and cups and things. And Ian was just saying, what was your favorite one you've seen us wear, buddy?
The crew backbone t-shirt.
Yeah, man. We make that one. That one, it's representative that the crew is the backbone and the cage and the sternum of everything that is a show. Without your crew, you wouldn't have the movies that you watch.
And
so,
you know, I'm going to go in this week. I'm going to put it on a pint glass too. See who.
Oh, hell
absolutely.
yeah!
This frosted pint glass right here has kept my beverage extremely cold.
Excellent.
Oh yeah.
So thank you, everybody. We appreciate you listening, and we will see you next time.
Peace out.